Okay, so we can start now. I guess other people have still joined us before me. Joining us, we continue. Good afternoon once again. Um, my name is Covenant Peace, and I'll be your host for today. Uh, so today is a very, very educative day, interested, educative, and this for as a division, this is our first webinar, and we've chosen an interesting topic, and this topic has been the talk of the global world entirely. Right. So it's a real prayer. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to today's session. And this session we call it an expert session webinar, right? Because our speaker is an expert and he has a vast experience in renewable energy engineering, and he is here to talk to us, to expose us and open our eyes to what renewable energy is, the current landscape of renewable energy. Right. So, and one of the reasons why we organize this webinar is to help us see the realities of renewable energy, especially here in Nigeria. Like, what are the challenges that we face in sustainability, in energy sustainability in Nigeria? And what are the opportunities that we as a student, as because we always say that we as youth, we are the future of this country. How can we make this country more sustainable? How can we pattern this country to a how pattern the country in a few years to develop country? And much of this will be done by we youth, and as students of the University of Lagos, as an energy club member, uh, we are one of the reasons why we are this club is to tap the opportunities and be able to create something in the sector. Right. And you know that Nigeria as a country itself, the Nigeria as a country itself faces energy problems, energy access sustainability issues, uh, even the normal electricity. A lot of a very large percentage of Nigeria still lack access to electricity, and uh, one thing one thing that we can do to solve this problem is to make is to work towards a cleaner solution. How can how can we make this energy sustainable? How can we make sure that, okay, as we are going further, as well as we are growing, as because the country is growing every day, population is increasing every day, and which means that as if our source of energy is just it's not sustainable. If our source of energy is just constant and the population is growing, it means that we are actually regressing. Right. So renewable energy is a very, very important sector which can help us solve some of these energy problems that we have in this country. So the spotlight of today is firmly on renewable energy. What's what does a career in renewable energy look like? How does it look like here in Nigeria and even beyond Nigeria? What are the roles as a student that we can be looking at? What are the roles that are emerging in in the renewable energy sector? And what skills do we need as students to tap into these roles? And how can we get started? So we'll be we'll be hearing a lot of this from our keynote speaker. And let me quickly give a brief of our keynote speaker. So our keynote speaker, I would say, is Mr. or I would say the engineer Oluwapelumi Gold. Right? And our keynote speaker is a renewable energy project manager and an engineering manager for over 7 years, with over 7 years of specific experience in renewable energy development across Africa. He has led the execution of solar projects of over 30 megawatts from design to handover and operation, ensuring compliance and technical standards, and managing key stakeholder relationships. And with deep expertise in solar hybrid battery storage systems, Mr. Palumi has overseen high impact projects that reduce carbon emissions and improve energy access, particularly in Nigeria, in Kenya, and has also consulted on policy and regulatory framework in Nigeria energy market. I believe we can, or you can hear me clearly.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So currently with he's currently with InfraCredit, and he leads the project management side of clean energy transactions across multiple developers and categories, including microgrid, C&I, and SHS. He also leads the development of technical standards in the sector in partnership with several development and international partners, including GEAPP, World Bank, and RA. He holds a degree in electrical and electronics engineering, and I'm very happy to also say that he is an alumni of the University of Lagos, and that's sure really make us happy because we are seeing our alumni doing very very well in renewable energy, and is here to put us in the same path. How can we do it? How can we tap into this renewable energy sector, and how can we make impact? What are the kind of rules and what kind of opportunities we can see in renewable energy? So he wrote a degree in electrical and electronics engineering from University of Lagos. He's a foreign registered engineer, also holding several certifications in renewable energy and energy efficiency from the likes of MEMSA, RENAC, and GIZ. So without much talk, I would like to invite our keynote speaker. I want to see your reactions. How happy are you? How happy are you to see our keynote speaker speak today? Nice, nice. Okay, I'm very, very happy to invite our keynote speaker to give us his speech. Thank you very much, to Mr. Uluwapolumigwe. You have the floor, sir.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
We can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay, all right, beautiful. I've been here. I've been trying to turn on my camera, but since I'm not allowed to, but I'll just go to it. Okay, nice to meet you all, and it's always good to speak among energetic and vibrant folks like you. Okay, so it's great to see you all, or to meet you all. I will just go straight into it. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you all for having me. Um, I really look forward to the Q&A side of this. So I will just be a bit brief with what I want to present, and then we'll go straight into the Q&A because I expect that a couple of you would have several questions that you would like me to answer, and I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. Um, okay, so please, once I share my screen, let me know you can see it. I'm sharing it now.
Yeah, we can.
Please confirm you can see the full screen, or is it just a
It's
side
now.
view?
Right now, it's just we can see the sidebar too, not the full screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, 1 second.
Okay, perfect now, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Wonderful. So, yes, nice to meet you all once again. And we're talking today about career paths in renewable energy engineering. Um, my name is Kodolo Apollomi, and I think they've done a brief introduction of who I am. Please, I just like being called by my first name. It's a protocol that makes me put the old title on my LinkedIn account, but Apollomi is fine or good. Um, so yeah, so basically the question is always renewable energy is just solar, installing solar on your roof, putting battery in your house, and having light when there is no grid supply. Grid meaning your Ikeja Electric, Eco Discos, and the rest, right? Um, so basically, that's what many understand renewable energy to be, but it's much more wider than what would understand it as, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, and how you can key into it, what you have to gain, the career paths around it, right? And basically, in we have a massive global shift towards clean energy. I'm sure you guys are mostly aware of a lot of things that have been happening in the space. Everyone is talking about clean energy, renewable energy. We need to save the environment. We need to, reduce carbon emissions. And clean energy is a key part of it. Renewable energy, clean energy used side by side. Some call it sustainable energy and the rest of them, right? Um, so one thing, one thing that is very important to know is that the world is shifting towards clean energy. We have the likes of the Paris Agreement and all other agreements that have been signed in past. And for looking at it, Nigeria's energy gap, which I will talk a bit more in the next section, is is like it's actually everyone is called to engineers are critical to solving access and clean and climate challenges, right? So why is renewable energy energy engineering important, right? Why does it matter? Um, so there's a growing demand, right? Over 45% of Nigerians lack reliable electricity. Like I've said before, it's either you have um, in, you know, on and off power supply, or you don't even have at all, right? I want to believe everyone on this call has some sense sort of power supply. I can tell you something that which is that there are millions of Nigerians that have never seen power supply in their life, right? I know that because I've been to several of these places, and there are a lot more. And in 2020, there was a report from the World Bank that stated that 40 I think over 40% of Nigerians in rural areas don't have access to electricity at all. Now, don't even have the access, not even talk of reliable power, right? So they don't have access to it, which means they've not seen grid supply in their life, right? And that's a fact because I've been to several of these places and I've seen it. Um, it's quite it shows how much of a gap, how far behind we are as a country, and how much opportunities there are to gain into in the space. Um, And we are seeing real-time solutions here, right? We've seen the likes of several mini grids being developed, solar mini grids developed in Nigeria to provide access to electricity for rural areas. We're seeing small hydro projects. We're seeing wind projects in other parts of Africa, not so much in Nigeria, because for Nigeria, the wind potential, I mean, most of us that have done, maybe, I can't remember which of our lecturers, of your lecturers is taking you there. Maybe it's Dr. Lobani or who, you know what to call cutting speed and the rest, right? So we don't have enough wind resource to provide the right amount of energy required in Nigeria. Not like it's not available, right? But based on current technologies, right? To achieve, there's also called levelized cost of electricity, which means how much will it cost you to set this thing up, and how much energy can you get out of it? Is it worth it at the end of the day? That's the techno-economic part of 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 energy, right? And based on that, for now, we've not seen so much wind projects in Nigeria, and that's because the potential for now is low when you compare how much you can get out of it and um, in terms of energy and the cost it takes for that. But it's a good opportunity to look into. I'm sure there'll be improvement in that sector, as time goes by. We're also seeing green hydrogen. It's a very exciting um, growing sector in the world, right? Where something as simple as hydrogen can be taken out of water and used to power, um, you know, trains, cars, even to provide electricity, right? It's something very exciting, and we're seeing it also grow, especially in terms of policy and in Nigeria, we're seeing some bits of that through GSS and the likes. So global demand for clean energy talent is skyrocketing, right? Because obviously everyone is clamoring for clean energy, so there's a lot of um, talent demand for this. I'm sure if you just go to something as simple as LinkedIn and you just go and search for clean energy or renewable energy or solar energy or whatever it is, you see a lot of job openings even in Nigeria, right? Not taking away the fact that there are challenges in Nigeria, right? But there are a lot of opportunities in the sector, even in terms of talent acquisition. So, like I mentioned, last year alone, we call it disturbance now. We don't call it grid collapse, right? So we had at least 11 grid collapse, sorry, disturbance in Nigeria. Um, and that's not something to be proud of. And for Nigeria, our target is that by 2030 we reach 30% renewable energy contribution. That means that within now and the next 5 years, there's going to be a lot of interventions from the government in terms of renewable energy, which means there'll be a lot of jobs, there'll be a lot of projects that will be done in terms of renewable energy. So that's a very key sector to look into, right? And the Nigerian electricity market is what um, 391 $1 million last year. That's the beginning of last year, and it's expected to grow up to $493 million by 2029. So that means there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of money to be made in the sector, right? For those that are focusing on Nigeria. Um, so going into the key part, which is that what are the career paths in renewable energy, right? We have a lot of them, right? We You can look at things as simple as project development, Many of us, which is what many of us are accustomed to, things like being a site engineer, installing solar in your house, installing solar in companies, in for communities, being a that's the site engineer, a design engineer being the person that does the not limited to, but is in charge of designing the system in terms of choosing the right sizes of cables, the right um, solar panel size, if it's solar we're looking at here, battery size, storage size, you know, designing, drawing the whole thing, simulating and modeling, and doing technical simulation and modeling of the system, looking at best case scenario, worst case scenarios, and things like that. Incorporating the system as a whole. That's a design engineer, and it's a very interesting side of it. Right. We also have the project manager, right, who is in charge of ensuring that projects are being deployed in a cost-effective manner, in a timely manner, right? And in terms of you can work with in terms of those career paths, you can work with developers and OEMs. OEM means original equipment manufacturers, right? Developers in terms of companies like those of us that know maybe Daystar Power, Starsight, even the probably the person that has installed solar in your house, right, has a company, that's a developer, right? OEMs meaning original equipment manufacturers, meaning the likes of the brands of those equipment, right? So you can be a design engineer for the likes of maybe Jinko, SMAs, those brands. Huawei is also into power, renewable energy. So you can be design engineers for those companies, project managers for these companies, and also site engineers also. Um, you can also be working in the energy research and policy space as an analyst, right? And you can also be working in data analytics part of things. You can be an advisor, right? Advising on policies, on regulations in the renewable energy space. We have many of them. We have the NEC mini grid regulation. Um, we have several other policies and regulations within the sector. There are several of them that have still not been, established into law, and these are where um, policy advisors come into play in terms of stakeholder engagement, drafting of policies, reviewing of policies, reviewing existing policies and how to make it better, understanding the loopholes and gaps there. You can also be a researcher in terms of you know um, providing studying the existing infrastructure, studying what we have in the sector and how to best improve on it. You know, those are researchers involved, and you can be working in companies like Arena. Um, Arena is an international body that's that's very much involved in policy and advisory. NESP is an arm of that's the Nigeria Energy Support Program, is an arm of GIZ. GIZ is an um, um, international donor, um, working, funded by the EU and German government, and they are very, very much involved in the Nigerian energy space, right? Through the NESP, you can be working with NOMAP. Through all these organizations, you can be very much involved as a researcher, analyst and advisor. There's a lot of potential in that space, right? And I think it's one space that has grown and will continue to grow. They can work in the finance and strategy. This is a very interesting part of renewable energy that people don't take note. And sometimes it sounds very mundane because you're like, okay, I'm an engineer. What am I doing in finance? What's my business with finance? Um, a lot of this, right, is very, very critical. It comes hand in hand with engineering, right? I currently work in the finance space, financing a lot of these renewable energy projects we have in country and outside. And a lot of things depend on on engineering basis, engineering foundations, engineering knowledge, understanding how technicalities affect cost and projections, right? So you can be working as an investment analyst, you know, um, you can also be working as a due diligence engineer or analyst also. And there are several organizations in the space. We have the IFC, an arm of the World Bank. We have um, Infra Credit. We have AFDB. We have BOI, Bank of Industry. And they provide a lot of funding within the Nigerian, West African, African, and world space. Um, in terms of renewable energy, right? We can also be working in the manufacturing and innovation sector or arm, in terms of being a plant engineer, right? You can be working in the R&D side of things, manufacturing also. We have in Nigeria, funny enough, we have a lot of, or quite a growing number of solar manufacturing plants. We have the likes of Leven, Oxano, and even Nasemi, right? Where they produce, you know, top quality solar panels in country. We're also having some of those also in the inverter space, in the battery storage space, in the country, right? We also have we can also be working in the energy tech space, um, right? Software space, right? And using artificial intelligence, we have SCADA, um, monitoring, modeling, GIS. There are a lot of that where you can be working in, right? Working as in the sector. I mean, this is a very, very, very huge and rewarding arm of renewable energy. Once you're established there, you become a main player because there's serious gap in terms of that arm in the country and also worldwide, right? We have the likes of Odyssey, can check them out. You can check Vida out. Elon also working in the monitoring and control space of renewable energy in worldwide. So there are a lot of companies and you know um, designations in terms of roles available within the renewable energy engineering space. So whether it's that you are working in the solar side of things, you are working in the wind, or you're looking at green hydrogen, you're looking at you know biofuel, other kinds of renewable energy, um, you know resources, right? You can always tap into in this case. So what are the skills you need to thrive, right? Technical skills are very much important, right? So you need to be proficient in certain tools that are very important in the sector. I know many of you will be working with MATLAB, MATLAB is also very useful. I've also found you also find very useful um, computer aided design software like AutoCAD, SketchUp, Visio, and the likes. Very important or useful in the sector. In your that's for your drawings. You also like likes of PVCs that's used for simulating, you know, PV systems. In PV systems, you have Homa. Homa is a multi-tool that is very useful in technical and commercial modeling in the sector. So whether it's wind, whether it's solar, whether it's green hydrogen, whether it's even your generators, your gas generators, your diesel generators, and the rest, right? Puma, it's a very useful tool um, within this sector. Um, Google Earth is also very useful, especially when you are trying to do your GIS and mapping. Um, Taking certain coordinates and putting it into KMZ files. Wind sim for wind simulation. Also, that also applies to open wind and the rest. So these are several technical skills, right? That you can look at, right? To you don't have to. We'll get there, but you don't have to know everything. Nobody requires you to know everything at this point, right? But having knowledge, basic knowledge on what they are, what they do, and how to navigate around it, testing your hands on these things, will go a long way in terms of your career growth. Soft skills like project management, teamwork, communication, and presentation is very important. I cannot overemphasize how important it is to ensure that your teamwork skills, working with people is very important in the sector. It's still a very much young sector compared to the likes of non fossil fuel, the gas sector or the diesel sector in Nigeria. But it's kind of a sector where a lot of people know a lot of people, right? So you need to um, know how to work within teams, be a good team player. Communication is very important, and presentation very important in terms of presenting what you've done. Within the sector is very important. And also presenting of oneself is very important as a soft skill, right? Certification for as a entry level person into the sector, getting certifications is very important. As one grows older, it's more or less your reputation and what you can do. But certification is very important. It takes you, so it's like a pool. If you have a pool of 1,000, right, and all of them, they are all graduates. They all finish with a 2-2 or 2-1 or first class. But you most times, it's a large pool for the entry level. So one thing that will easily separate you from your peers is certifications that you've been able to get, right? Um, Obviously your BSc is important. Whether you have masters is also important. You have other certifications like mini grid design, certification within the Nigerian space, the NEMSA Renewable Energy Installation Practitioners, PMP, the Association of Energy Engineers, AEE has Certified Energy Auditor, you have Renewable Energy Professional. We also have, for those of you that are looking at, Jackpine, Red Screen, it has their certifications, I think, that is very, recognized in countries like like Canada, Australia, and the likes. Um, we also have even the certified energy auditor is recognized in countries like that. So, and we also have OEM certifications like, if it's Huawei certification on their products, on how to install them, how to troubleshoot, how to design with their systems. They also have certifications that shows that you've gone through their training and you are able to do the work on your own, right? With minimal supervision. So, what are the real life applications here, right? We've seen projects like solar energy farms, small hydro plants installed worldwide in terms of renewable energy. In Nigeria, there are over 100 operational mini grids, and um, yeah, this is basically the picture on your left is basically what you would see in terms of a mini grid in Nigeria. It's this mini grid is serving this um community, right? You see many grids powering communities. A community can have a population of 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, and they are fully powered by solar, right? We have them, hundreds of them across the country. Um, we also are seeing electric mobility growing in the space. Um, most electric mobility is being powered by clean energy. So um, even though it's not directly clean energy, it's by effect, right? If powered by clean energy, and also you can say it's as a result of clean energy is growing in the space. For me, I'll talk a bit more about my experience, but I've worked on several mini grids in the space, several projects within the sector, consultations and the rest, and you would see that you will see firsthand how what you do, how it impacts the life of several individuals, right? Imagine you install providing through your work, you've been able to provide power for 10,000 people, 50,000 people through one project, right? And you go there, you see it yourself. You see children that have never seen power in their life. They're able to read at night. You see businesses open up, um, you know, economic activities grow, and the standard of livelihood improve within a very, very short span, right? Um, so you see farmers are able to farm better, you know, places where there's um poor water supply, they're able to use irrigation to, transport water, solar irrigation to transport water to their farms. They're able to, use electric vehicles to move their farm produce to collection centers or to the market. You know, you see women able to, you know, um, work because of power. They're able to set up their shops. Those that are grinding and be able to grind as a result of power. Welders have able to do a lot of things. So there's a lot of impact, right, in terms of um, you know being in the sector. You see firsthand, right, how what you are doing is has impacted or is impacting the lives of millions of people. Um, and there are also technological advancements in the space, right? Things are improving. AI is coming in and helping the sector a lot. These are also spaces where you can play into, right? So just a brief about my journey, right? So um, while in school, um, like you all, um, I mean, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just was reading and you know maybe flexing or whatever it is, but just trying to get by as a student. And it was time for internship. Um, I was also at a point, right, after. Yes, I was a bit intentional because what I did during my when I was about to start my internship was I went to a lot of companies. I printed my CVs. I went to a lot of companies to drop my CVs. Many of them, in fact, all of them, as I was going there, the question they will ask me is, "Do you know anybody here?" I'll say no. We're not allowing interns, but okay. I'll say, let me drop my CV. Just take my CV. They'll collect it. I'll not hear anything. I sent a lot of mails. I applied for several of these openings. So it was kind of tricky, but I was able to secure an internship position at PowerX. And one what I did during those I did my internship for about 8 months. So I did it 6 months, right? But school didn't resume early. So I just extended, right? Till when school resumed proper. And it was a very interesting time, right? It was a foundational period for me because I was able to learn a lot, apply my skills. I understood that what I'm doing here is learning. So I what I did was right, it was not easy, but what I did was I made sure that I followed them to sites every time they were going to sites. I in the office I stood by the main the key players, key team members in the office, and I forced them, right? I forced them, right, to teach me what they know, right? I was very intentional about them letting me know what they know, right? Because everyone is busy, right? But I I didn't I I didn't allow that to stop me from learning, right? So I took my time. I'll bring my laptop. I would install all the software they will install. I will test things out on my own. Things they've done already, I'll take samples. I'll do it. I'll redo it myself. I'll show them. And this made them familiarize themselves with me. So I became someone they were drawn to, and in few months in my internship, I was already working on a lot of things already. Um, so at that point, it was just about me learning, right? And I went back to school. Then school was tougher. It was like, how do I relate what I'm learning in school here, and how do I relate what I learned in my internship back to school? But you still find some similarities, right? You still one thing I appreciate about school, and this is my encouragement to everyone on this call. We all know that sometimes some of us feel like there's nothing we learn or we can use from school and workplace. Yes and no. One thing is, above all, what school does for you is it gives you that foundational knowledge that you are able to, you know, understand whatever comes your way, especially as an engineering student. There's nothing that you cannot think or calculate your way around if you just take your time. So it helps you to easily grab things fast, right? Imagine you didn't go to school at all, right? You'll probably not be able to understand or to grab things as fast as your peers. And you will know this along the line when you're working with people that are not really learned or people that didn't go to school. You'll notice how much of a difference that makes over the years. Um, so I got, but when I even in school, I try to, even my final years, I'll go when they have sites that I have time. I'll go to those sites during the weekend. I would work with them for a few hours, go back to my hostel, and continue my learning. Um, I didn't know, even at then, I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be honest. I was still thinking whether I should go into software development because even before my internship, I was already doing a bit of that in some sort as a student. But it was quite. I just knew that whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to do it well. That was just my mindset, right? So then when I finished school, they asked me to come join them and back as a graduate engineer, and I went and I spent a few months. I didn't immediately go for my youth service. Um, for several reasons, including the fact that I just wanted to first get some knowledge. Youth service is not going to run away. I'm not saying you should do that, right? But for me, that was the pathway I saw, and amongst other things. So along the line, I was working. I moved to Ruby Tech. Um, um, I just wanted to have an experience of another company, right, and see how another how another work culture is. Rubitech was quite a solar company, right? They are one of the foundations now solar companies. Um, Built one of the first solar mini grids in the space. I joined there. It was different, and in that time, I also did my youth service here. Um, but I joined them already as an engineer. It was quite interesting. In there, I was able to grow fast. You know, I was able to learn quickly. I took on opportunities that that I felt in my mind that I was not, able to. I was, not those inferiority complex where you feel like, can you really do this? But I took it up, and it was very interesting because I was able to learn a lot of things. I was able to apply my knowledge. In there, I was already consulting and with the likes of Olon, which is funded by Shell. I was already consulting with UNDP, United Nations Development Program, with Innovate UK, funded by the UK government. Even working on projects as a consultant with the likes of um, University of Nottingham, Innovate Park Engineering, and also Usman Dafodio University. So it was a very, very interesting one. um, so it opened me to a lot of opportunities, right, and a lot of experience. And from there, I moved from. So I said I was already working in the mini grid space, mostly rural electrification, and I wanted to work in the commercial industrial space. So I moved to Rensource. At Rensource, I was able to work on a lot of commercial industrial projects. um, then I started moving towards I was now getting more involved with the financial part of things. So, these are things where when they originally come, they come like is work, extra work for you. But um, most of the time, in that extra work comes reward, long term reward. Because I was able to work directly on um, financing. I was at Renaissance. I was able to raise and work with the team to raise financing of about 50 million US dollars. I was able to work on several other projects, you know, that impacted the nation as a whole. I was also now consulting on my own, right, on several projects, local and international. Um, so it was very rewarding. Then from there, I also moved to where I am currently, which is Infra Credit. At Infra Credit, I'm the project manager for clean energy project. Um, so we provide funding for clean energy projects in the country, and we're also expanding outside. You know, it's a very um, interesting one because this is like working clearly in the financial space, right? But you know, one thing that we all you all need to understand is that there is always opportunities everywhere, especially in this clean energy, right? I'm not saying it's easy, but there are always opportunities. Everyone is looking for talent, and one key thing is that the little talent that was available a few years ago, most of them have transited outside the country. So there's a lot of gap, right? Need for you know, experienced folks within the sector, and the easy way to plug into those gaps is to upskilling yourself, right? Through these projects, I've been able to work on several projects that have impacted a lot of people. Um, I was looking at the numbers even was it day before yesterday, and I realized that it has even changed a lot. I've been able to impact a lot more people. Um, you know, so many um, jobs have been directly created as a result of projects that I've led. Um, and one way I was able to achieve this was through learning, right? There was a period in my life that many people always say, for those of us that are on Twitter, or I don't know, you always hear the word locking, right? It is not a fallacy, it's not hearsay. One key thing is if you can put 3 months as a minimum into learning one key thing, right? The output of that is that you become the top 10% in the space. And that's just the simple truth. Whether this applies to renewable energy, software development, whatever it is, do away with distractions and just decide that, okay, for the next X amount of time, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, I'm going to lock in. I'm going to dedicate X amount of hours a day to learn this thing. And one thing I did was I started with manuals. So for like 2 months, every single evening when I'm back from work, I pick up manuals, right? And I read them. It was very funny because what are you reading in a manual? A manual of 100, 200 pages, but it was very important that it was a foundational part of my growth, my exponential growth in the sector, because I was able to learn a lot. I was able to understand what affects what. So one key output was that when I was working, I understood foundational principles through reading, right? I was able to know what affect what, and it showed in the output of results of projects I worked on, right? It was very clear. So that helped me grow. Um, and it's a very key part of everyone in terms of growing in their career, whatever sector it is they're working in, right? So how can you position yourself? You position yourself by I'm not up on this presentation now by participation in internships, right? Taking certifications, networking, you know, engage in research and development, um, working on demos, and also putting your work out, right? Um, whatever it is, don't be shy. Whether what you're working on has meaning or not, right? Just put it out, put it on LinkedIn, put it out, let people critique it, right? That's how you learn and that's how you grow. Um, so understand how it's important to network and also connect within the sector. Always stay curious, right? You attract your interest, right? Um, whatever you set your mind at, you will just notice that things start coming together after a while. Um, so in terms of next steps, like I said, join the energy clubs, like the Inland Energy Club, volunteer or intern with clean energy companies, learn industry tools like PVCs and the rest that I've mentioned, participate in competitions and challenges. We have TX 2.2. I think that is even currently on with a funding of up to 4.5 million naira. We have several competitions like that that's very rewarding. Um, um, they reward innovation in the space. They follow energy leaders, read energy news within the sector. Irina, follow Irina, SC for all, Rian, Anda, Infant Credit. Follow leaders like Tamilola Ogunbi, Olumide Fatoki, and Nakabil, and the likes of key players in the sector that are doing a lot of good work, right? Um, Advantages over other career paths, right? Is it like I've mentioned before, it's a growing demand, um, and there's a sense of job stability, right? You also have it's also universally adaptable, right? Which means what you are doing in Nigeria, you can also replicate it in other parts of Africa and even other parts of the world, Europe, US, and the likes. It's not something that is specific to only your side like some other jobs. Um, you you know there's also versatility in interests. Whether it's that you want to work in the policy side or analytics side, there's always a space for you. We also have some people are scared about how much does AI affect my job, right? Some say it's AI is going to take over. Maybe software development. I don't know. But in this space, it's kind of a hands-on experience. So even though there's the parts where AI coming is even an opportunity in the space, right? Rather than a disadvantage. So you have AI helping you to make your work better. So it means that you're even able to. There's even more jobs that will be opening. Um, More rewarding jobs, specific jobs with AI disruption in the space. So there's kind of a stability in the space and potential for growth. Um, yeah, so that's where I'll stop right now. I'm looking forward to connecting with you all and answering your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I've really learned a lot, and what you've just presented to us. Thank you very much, sir. And yeah, he has mentioned a lot of things, and I believe we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. So, yeah, going to questions and answers. So, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and drop it on the. Okay, so we'll go one by one. So, Fadilula Ayodeji, you can go on.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, I would say a big thank you to the speaker for the highly elucidating lecture. So here's my question. Let's say I'm someone that okay, I'm passionate about solving the energy poverty issue in Nigeria. Now, I'm not looking at it from the perspective of okay, maybe I'll have a power company, like more of the money making aspect of it. For okay, but we know that okay, before you can make money, I mean, out of something, maybe big money out of something, you must be solving a problem. Now, like how is the money making aspect? Because it's more of this social and entrepreneurship stuff. But I'm not looking at it from the company side. Okay, building a company, a power company. Now, like, how can you now make that money? I don't know if you got my question, but something like that, Sha.
Yes, I got a question. Yes, so this is a question that I found very interesting, right? And I think it basically as a result of knowledge, right, in the sector. I will tell you one thing is it's a very rewarding sector. Um, it's not it's not a sector where you come in and I mean if you are very specific that you say you know you are not going to be earning much. I would say one thing is clear is that you can earn a lot in the sector. I know several people. I am very much aware of that, right? Um, there are people that are earning a lot. So as an individual, right? Going back to the roles within the sector that I mentioned, um, we have in the project development side, you know, site engineers, design engineers, project managers. You know, there are several design engineers that are earning they are localized in Nigeria and they are earning very well, right? Several hundreds of thousands of USD in Nigeria. And what are they? They'll tell you they are engineers, solar engineers, and they're earning well, right? Project managers earning a lot. Um, but this happens via experience, right? Um, in terms of as a company, right? As a company, you you also get to earn a lot, right? Because if you are starting from the simplest of things, which is I'm just installing solar in people's houses, right? Um, at minimum, what you're going to be installing, like every normal work, is you're going to make sure you're working for a profit. So as long as you follow the law of economics in terms of you put in the value of your time, even you put in the value of your time into your cost, you put in the value of resources in, you're always going to be on the winning side of things, right? So at the end of the day, if you it's at the end of the day, it's all about the numbers. So if you can hit those your targets, then it's a very rewarding sector. I don't know if I've answered your question, or you want me to be a bit specific in terms of certain things.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, actually, you did very well to my question. But let me be funny now. Okay, can I be can I be Dangote in quotes in the power sector? I mean, in the energy sector. I mean, maybe by diversifying
Okay.
into different something like that.
You want to be Dangote? There's only one Dangote in Nigeria.
I mean, in
Even in
quotes.
Africa.
I'm in quotes.
Yes, I get you. I get you. Well, I mean, for for every sector, right, there are always key stakeholders. You to get there, it requires a lot of work. It's very possible, right? But it starts with doing these simplest things right. Um, the simple things that you are working on now, work on them right, and you can easily get there. It's not impossible. In fact, right now, with the new innovations we are having in the sector, there's going to be a lot of disruptions within now and the next 5 years. And that means that there will be new kings in the sectors, and some kings would no longer be kings in the sector. So this is an opportunity for everyone to be rewarded, right, doing the right things in the sector. You can be you can become through through owning your company and working, right. You can be turning over in billions. There are several companies in Nigeria, right, that are turning over billions as what are they doing? Solar installations. Right. I've seen those numbers. It's not as if someone is telling me. I've seen those numbers being in the finance space. So there are companies like that turning over a lot. Because look at it from this side, right? Everybody needs energy. Even you in your house, you are not using enough energy. If you have the opportunity to use more energy in terms of on your ACs, you know, be able to do more work. Companies need more energy. They're looking for cheaper energy. They want to, most of them are looking to buy more equipment, produce more, which means there will be increasing demand for energy. So that means there is a gap that needs to be filled, right? So which means that gap means money from the financial side of things. It means that there's a lot of money to be made. So the question is, are you going to be the person that's going to take a major share of that um, space or not? Right? So it can be very rewarding to answer you in simple terms. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that insight.
Thank you very much, sir. Even Pastor, I learned from those words you just said that there's always a gap, and that gap means money. That gap is an opportunity. So before I call on the next persons, sir, can you please run through the names of the people you encouraged us to follow on social media again?
Okay, yes, you can always follow in terms of organizations, you can follow the likes of Irena, you can follow AMDA, you can follow RIAN, that's the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. You can follow SC for All, that's an arm of the United Nations. You can follow InfraCredit. Um, in terms of energy leaders in the space, um, you have the likes of Damilola Ogunbiyi. Um, you have the likes of um, Anita Otubu. You have the likes of Olumide Fatoki. You have the likes of Chinua Azubike. You have, several of them. And one thing is that as you follow one person, right, the way LinkedIn feeds works, you see what the person likes. So you can easily see, oh, okay, this person, this post is important. Who is this person? He's also a key stakeholder in the sector. You follow that person. So it's like a simple web that you do. So yeah, that's just few people to mention. Yeah, you can follow REA, that's Rural Education Agency. They're in charge of everything rural education um, in Nigeria. You can follow the Rural Education Agency. They are doing very, very critical work in the sector. Um, so please do well to follow them.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you. And you
much.
can follow me too.
Of course, that's what I just want to say. That yeah, he's also a key person in the renewable energy space, and should follow him. His name on what on LinkedIn is just Oluwapelumi Gold. Thank you very much, sir, for that. So the last two questions. Oluwatimileyin, can you go on?
Hi, Gold. Good evening.
Hi, Timileyin. Good evening.
Okay, so thank you for your session. We really learned a lot. So you really spoke about your career, how you started to where you are now, fast forward. You mentioned a lot of things you did, and from your many, many years of experience and many trial and errors, can you just touch on a few things you have tried or tested and you feel like it should be a no to career development and things like that, or mistakes you feel like you've made and someone, up and coming in energy space should not make?
Yes, very beautiful question. Thank you very much, Timi. I think one mistake you should not make is at the onset, right? Looking out for the money. Um, I've seen, and the reason is, in the sector, if you're looking out for money, you will see the money, but the source of the money may dry up easily, right? There are several companies that, you know, you're learning, you're in your formative years, and you feel like you've not you're still learning, but within the first few months of your learning, you already get an offer that's paying you four times what you are getting, what you have, right? But you have to do your due diligence to check, is this company sustainable? Can they pay my salary for the next 1 2 years? Right? There are several of them, just like every other um, sector in the country, right? The data says that um, 7 out of 10 startups die within a short amount of years, right? So, so that means that for every company, right, for every 10 companies, a large number of them would not see the light of day in coming years. So I've I won't say for me, but I've seen several people that they jumped before it was in quote the right time, and they had to take a step back and start over again. Um, but but I would say don't, in your formative years, before the money, always look at how much you can grow, right, in the sector. But also money is important, please. Don't go and work where they'll be owing you salary for multiple years, right? And just maybe I didn't speak about it, right? One key thing that you can do is um you can, if you're looking at the renewable energy space, right, you can, for those of you that are rounding up or looking for internship, you can go to the space, for, if you already know where you want to work in the space, list out 50 companies that that are working in that sector, right? Go to their website, find their find their email address, go on LinkedIn, find their CEO, push out, you'll find their emails online, one way or the other. Push out emails to them. That's how you get intentional about these things. And the truth is that many of them would not respond. Some will respond and tell you no. But all you need is one yes. Is one yes, one right yes, and you're good to go. Right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope I answered your question to them.
Yes, yes, Gold. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that response. And last one, George, can you go on?
All
George, are
right.
you
Good
here?
evening, everyone. Yeah, George, like you mentioned. I must say this session has really been insightful. Yes, I am here. Can you hear me now, please?
Yes, I can hear you
Can
perfectly.
you hear me now? All right. As I was saying the other time, I said this session has really been insightful and I really appreciate. So my question now is, as a non-engineering student who is looking to transition into the renewable energy space, particularly solar energy, as a project manager, and as someone who has started taking informal training, what are the first or formative steps you would advise I take in like getting certain certifications and just like starting?
Okay, so maybe okay, let me practicalize it for you, right? Let me use you so you know what you want to do. So which of those which area in the renewable energy space do you want are you looking to start with?
Oh, all right. I mentioned solar energy.
Okay, yeah, in solar energy, there are several spaces. Do you want to come in as a site engineer installing solar systems, or you want to work in the policy side of solar energy, or in the finance side of solar energy in terms of investment analyst, right? What do you first of all, right? It's okay not to know right now, but it's always good to have an idea of what you want to start with, because that will help you in terms of especially in this case in me recommending what to start with, right? Because if you want to start as an installer, I'll tell you to take, I'll look at the top brands in terms of certifications, because I'll first say, okay, start with the free certifications and trainings, right? And I'll say, look at brands. They have free certifications and training all out. You have the likes of Huawei, um, PV inverters training. There's a course, online course that you take, and they will give you a certification. We have Victron. Victron was one I personally took myself. Um, we have SMA training. We also have several of them, right? Those kind of trainings that are free and easy to take. We also have you can start with that for installation. Volunteer for to go and do installations. Even if it's just to site see, right, to see how they are doing these things. As a policy person, I would say um, you want to read on policy documents. There are several of them on IRENA's website, on AMDA's website, RIAN's, and the rest. You want to follow the likes of Dolapo Kukoyi. Um, there are several, and Nigeria also has this mini grid regulation. You want to read on things like that. Those are very key parts in the policy space. If you are looking in the finance space, um, you want to do trainings on HOMA, because that's a blend of technical and commercial, right? In terms of simulation, so you want to do trainings on HOMA, understand things like that. You want to also learn on basics of financial modeling, right? Um, right? Once you are able to learn HOMA and you learn basics of financial modeling, you have certification on that. You can easily work in the renewable energy space. I think at that point you have the right knowledge, right? If you're looking at data analytics, right? Things as simple as Power BI is a good start for you as a beginner, right? Even though it's not specific to renewable energy, right? Is um, broad, right? But you already understand how to look at data, interpret data, present data, and the rest. So, so yes, I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Yes, thank
Okay, thank you very
Thank you
much,
very much.
sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
So uh, he has talked about a lot of things, and I believe we've learned a lot of things. Can I see your reactions if you've gained one thing or the other today? Nice. And I hope that with everything he has said, we'll be able to pick one or two things and apply it. And apply it. There are a lot of opportunities in renewable energy. He has talked about upskilling yourself, uh, taking some certifications, taking some courses online that that actually matter in renewable energy to gain skills. And aside of skilling yourself, volunteering, joining energy clubs, I just thank God for the resurgence of energy club this session. We're able to have a session like this, a webinar like this that can open our eyes to what is happening in the energy space. And locking, he talked about locking very well. Like there are some times that you just need to put yourself inside and you know that you are focused on this, focusing on this thing for some months, and that really helps a lot. And in building a career path in renewable energy, so the kind of skills he has mentioned, learning OMA, PVC, SCADA, AutoCAD, there are things that you have that needs consistency. It's not something that you can just uh budge in badge in, badge out. Right. So putting yourself out on LinkedIn, posting yourself, not just on LinkedIn, even Twitter too has been an effective way people can put themselves out. What you've been learning, what you are doing, how after taking some your skills, basically, people want to see your skills. And you don't know, you don't know what will happen. And networking in events, reading energy news, and this reading energy news is very good. And as technology division of Energy Club, we will be giving updates in the energy sector every week, it's and it's one of the ways we can get updated. And I will say that if you've not followed the Unilag Energy Club on social media, you need to do now so that you can see our updates. And yeah, with everything else talked about, I enjoyed this a lot. I enjoyed this a lot. Thank you very much, sir. And um, okay, go on. That's
All right, thank you very much. So before you close, it's just like
okay.
a minute for like a short announcement before you close.
Go on. Yeah. Thank
All right, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, I've learned so much. Daughter is really fit. Thank you very much, Mr. Pauline. Good, really appreciate. So the announcement is just, I think the legal division too. We really goal of unity work is to have a rounded experience. So the legal division to be having something for us soon. The head of legal division is also here. We all learn. So, Bukaya, I think are you there? You can just watch the result for us, so we can look for. So, Bukaya, are you there? Bukaya. Okay. Okay, I think okay, maybe she's just having some network. So basically, sometimes maybe next week, the legal division too will also be coming up with the perspective on the legal sides of mergers, acquisitions, of various things going on in the energy sector. And I want everyone to also look forward to that. So thank you very much. I want to go back to this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Uh, so on behalf of the University of Lagos Energy Club and specifically the Technology Division, we want to appreciate you, Mr. Oluwapolumi, for this time that you've had with us today. We we've learned a lot from you, and your speech was really really enlightening. It covers everything that we expected to learn today. You talked about the career pathways that are available in the United States, and you actually the way you shared your personal experiences. Really, so as a final year student, I'm ready to uh, pattern in my way with what you just said, what you just said, and basically giving us a clear sense of what is possible and what it takes to thrive in this field. Uh, Thank you very much. Thank you for your openness. Thank you for being a role model. And basically, there's no I'm following up. I'm following up just to see because right now, to me, you are a very, very key person to me in the renewable energy, and we hope this will be the beginning of a continued relationship between you and also the energy club. And we look forward to learning from you in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And everybody, thank you for being here. Aditola, you want to say something?
Yes, sorry. Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
I want to announce the fact that the legal division will be having a webinar on the 25th of this month. So I'm really hoping that everybody will attend it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so legal division, we're having a session, and it's aside the tech division, which also learn from the legal side. Thank you very much. So, thank you everyone for being here, for everyone that joined from the beginning, and even that joined, everyone that at least joined. You've made this session successful. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.